Another small boat? Look, there's another, and another, and another.
Who do you think they are?
Mostly scientists and doctors coming from France.
So, two-tier commie Keir Starmer has gave another speech to the people of the UK, and he's basically not only doubled down or tripled down, he seems to have quadrupled down at this point, and basically done the same thing but tenfold of blaming everyone else for the problems, blamed the Tories, blamed the working class white British people for all the problems as well, and nothing is his fault. And also, he's failed to address some more key important points of the UK collapsing and burning around him. And anything that he did address is just, again, more blaming of other people and taking zero responsibility. So throughout this video, I am going to go on one hell of a rant, as per usual. And what I'm going to do throughout this video is, everything that he argues, I'm going to argue against it as the key points within this video. And anything that I argue against is pretty much the opposite of what I would do if I was in Keir Starmer's place, if I was the Prime Minister of the UK. So before we start this video, I would like to say thank you very much for everyone for the support recently. We have more than doubled the subscribers in less than 2 weeks, which again I'm so thankful for. We've pretty much gained 100,000 views on this channel as a whole. All your comments, all your likes, all your sharing as well. Thank you so much for the support, it is greatly appreciated. If we can hit 10k subs by the end of this year, that would be awesome, but I've got a funny feeling we might hit that by the end of September. If you want to follow me on Discord or join my Discord server or follow me on Twitter, there'll be links in the pinned top comment so I can interact with you more and you get genuine news in my Discord server, not this mainstream media nonsense. But anyway, let's not waste any more time, let's get right into this. So, of course, within Keir Starmer's speech, he blamed the far right and the Tories for the absolute problems within the UK that's going to proceed going forward. Now, he's blaming the Tories for leaving him a 22 billion-ish black hole to fill, which, although I hate to admit it, yeah, the Tories have to take some responsibility for sure for the absolute state of the UK, but can we just blame the Tories for the state of the UK? End of story. No, we can't. He's been in power for 7 weeks and somehow has made the situation 1,000-fold worse. He has done absolutely nothing to fix any of the issues we're about to rant about so far. And I don't really think it's the good thing of, if you're meant to be a good, strong man, to constantly go in front of the country, if not the entire world, and just throw a 5-year-old temper tantrum and blame everyone else for the problems, when you have to take responsibility because you have made every single situation that has gone on before you became elected as Prime Minister, you've made those situations far, far worse by blaming everything and everyone else instead of taking responsibility and addressing the issues straight ahead. Now, the other thing as well that he's been blaming as well for, let's say, the riots up and down the UK, again, is of course the far-right racists, EDL, bigot fascists and blah blah blah, so on and so forth as well. Again, he's blaming them again for the absolute state of the UK, the average working class British white male and female up and down the UK, man and woman. But again, we all know that is not, that's the furthest thing from the truth so far. The whole reason that riot started, it was the final nail in the coffin as well. This had been brewing underneath the surface for many, many years, and that was just the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back when the Southport attack happened. Again, he basically touched upon the Southport attack again, but he just blamed it on far-right evil Nazi bigots with, swastika tattoos and so on and so forth. Again, failed to address the whole illegal immigration, because let's be honest, every single time you hear in the news there's been a stabbing, there's been a grooming crime, there's been a sexual assault, there's been more human trafficking or just mass attacks and blah blah blah, so on and so forth, it's never Keith from Lancaster. I don't mean that literally, it's literally Keith from literally Lancaster. It's just a little joke I like to say on my YouTube channel. It's never the white British man or woman. It really isn't. And on the 1 in a million chance that it might actually be, for example, about a month-ish ago when that man, a white British man, killed 3 women with a crossbow, all of the lefty kind of commie types always like to go, I see, I told you, it's always the white British person that does this. It's never the Muslims, it's never the Somalians, the billions of Somalians, it's never the Muslims, it's never the Africans, it's never these people, it's always these types of people, which is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth in any way, shape or form. It's a rare 1 in a million thing that is actually a white British man that commits these horrific crimes. And the other thing as well, which I'm going to say, which is going to sound extremely controversial, but when you seriously think about it, it is the truth. that mass immigration has gotten so beyond bad in the UK, they've actually stolen crime from the white British people. Every single time you hear a crime happening, it's never Keith from Lancaster. It's never a man and a woman with a traditional fish and chip name in any way, shape or form. It's always the black or brown people that should not be in this country to begin with as well. And again, him going around blaming everything and everyone else is just not helping the situation. In fact, it's only making the situation worse. Now, he's also talking about tough times coming ahead for the average, working class British white man and woman going forward, which again I find quite funny that he's also been talking about, and therefore he has acted upon cutting certain types of financial help to those who are most vulnerable, like the elderly or the disabled, for the winter fuel payments to stop them freezing to death. Especially up here in Scotland, where even the cold in the winter up here can get so bad to the point where it can kill a healthy young man up here. It's that bad. Never mind the elderly or the disabled. Again, we can't fund this. We can't fund the NHS. We can't fund all these other problems. But as I've made unique independent videos on, we can drum up 15 billion to send off to Ukraine to help them fight off against the Russians for the next 5 years. We can also send, I think it was 86 billion to some third world country in the Middle East. I don't know, I don't really care. But again, that's more millions as well. Again, the billions been sent overseas for climate crisis and climate fighting and, environmental reasons. And again, more and more money of the taxpayers' money getting invested into wind farms, which again, do not work. Even up here in Scotland, we invented the wind essentially. It's a very windy country up here. Again, it really does not return a profit in any way, shape or form of generating more electricity than just the traditional ways. They do not work in any way, shape or form. Again, I find it funny that we have money to spend on the most stupid shit up and down the UK, but when it comes to the people of the UK first, no, we can't help you, go fuck yourself, which again, tried to warn everyone that this would be worse than Tory leadership, but again, nobody listened. You get what you vote for at the end of the day. Now, another thing as well that he addressed, and I've already kind of touched up on this, is crime as a whole up and down the UK. Again, blaming the far right, EDL, racist bigots, fascists, blah, 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 fucking blah, so on and so forth as well. Again, just blaming these things as well. But the thing that I find quite interesting is he did not bring up the recent Notting Hill festival or carnival or clown show, whatever you like to call it in any way, shape or form. I'll put up a lot of video footage and statistics at this point as well throughout the video of that. The amount of crimes, not only within the first 24 hours, but even within the first hour of that festival starting, is beyond a joke as well. I mean, some of the footage you might have seen is just a bunch of black people crowded up in the middle of a street, just getting pressed against the rail, and they look like a bowl of third world Cocoa Pops, to say the very least. Like, I'm sorry, but it just looks completely degenerate, especially when you see them grinding up against the police, grinding up against other members of that carnival, and even climbing up onto bridges and grinding on other people during that, which is just beyond degenerate and, more importantly, more dangerous than that as well. It's more stupid and just even more dangerous than even being at the festival itself. It's just complete beyond degeneracy. And again, I find it quite funny as well that a lot of lefties on Twitter have been countering this, going, oh, well, how many wheelie bins did they set fire to? You evil racist far right, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Burning down wheelie bins, acid attacks, sexual assaults, stabbings, killings, violent assaults, drug dealing, plethora of assaults on police, setting a wheelie bin on fire. Yeah, it doesn't really add up. It doesn't really stack up against the horrific shit that happened at the Notting Hill Carnival. And again, we've had a lot of Sky News reports say, yes, there have been multiple stabbings, multiple people fighting for their lives in the hospital, multiple sexual assaults, multiple crimes. There was even someone who got acid thrown in their face. And the Sky News reporters, yes, plural, still had the audacity to say, but it was a mostly peaceful carnival, as they always do as well. Again, tell that to the people in hospital fighting for their lives after being stabbed or acid attacked or just assaulted, and the police officers as well that are in hospital as well. Far from the peacefulness that the mainstream media tries to put it out to be. Again, Keir Starmer would not dare touch up against that, because if he were to speak out against the crimes on the Notting Hill Carnival, well, now he's the big evil racist far right Zionist fascist blah, 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 fucking so on and so forth as well. So therefore he keeps his mouth shut as well. Also, again, he was talking about the riots that were all started because of the far right across the far right EDL fascist bid and so on and so forth as well. All of his speeches, all of his tweets that he's put out, he won't actually talk about the actual Southport attack itself. It's always just, oh, it's the far right, far right, far right, far right, this, you know, just exterminate the far right, like he's Davros from Doctor Who with his Dalek army to follow him to do his bidding, like an absolute communist that he is as well. Again, failing to address that all these types of crimes that are happening is never Keith from Lancaster, it's always the third world who are meant to come over here and enrich and empower us and bring us diversity, which just brings us mass death as well on top of that as well. Failing to address that, also failing to address that the vast majority of people up and down the UK do not want mass immigration of any sort, legal or illegal. They don't want it anymore because we have now seen what they're capable of, which is nothing, capable of doing absolutely nothing good and 100% capable of doing nothing but bad and even evil as well. And I don't blame them as well. And I finally like to point out to lefties as well on Twitter is, oh, so we agree that the Japanese should be, sorry, Japan should be for the Japanese, China should be for the Chinese, and places like Russia should be for the Russians. But when I say that Europe should be for the Europeans, all of a sudden I'm now a racist, evil, far-right, bigot, fascist, so on and so forth as well. That we're meant to accept these absolute lesser people, and I feel like I'm being generous even using the word people at this point to describe these are absolute beyond horrific people. We're just meant to roll over and basically accept this, just have them in by the millions upon millions, who are going around killing our kids, sexually assaulting our kids, kidnapping our kids, grooming our kids, and doing all the most heinous shit as well towards women and even men themselves. And we're meant to just roll over and take it. But the second we try and address these issues, that maybe, just maybe, that having a third world and a first world country is just not a good mix in any way, shape or form, and it shouldn't be tolerated and they should be sent back to their countries. Even though that would actually resolve the vast majority of crime in the UK, not you're an evil far-right racist, bigot, fascist, so on and so forth as well. And again, he's failed to address that. In fact, even within recent videos, and even more recently, we've had far more stabbings, far more arson attacks that killed a mother and 3 of her kids inside of a house. We've had another mass stabbing somewhere in England. I'm struggling to keep up. It's literally on an hour-to-hour rate. I'm struggling to keep up with these horrific crimes. And something that I always like to talk about and touch upon within my videos is the fact that self-defense is absolutely beyond illegal in the UK just blows my mind. I think that's a legitimate human right violation. I believe that the First and Second Amendment in America should not be an American trait. That should be a human trait. Those who deserve it, those who do no evil, should have that, basically that freedom to enact upon that as well. Because if you've got freedom of speech, you need something physical to defend it. That's just common sense as well. Again, we've had recently down in England somewhere that a bunch of women were stabbed to death. I think 3 of them as well. Again, if they had firearms, they could be alive. Again, if anyone walking to and from that area in the Southport attack had firearms on them, they could have shot and killed that guy before he did any damage or any more damage. Again, Sarah Everard, who is the woman who was raped and killed by a police officer who was in uniform and on duty during lockdown, she could be with us if she had pepper spray or even a firearm on her to eliminate the threat. She didn't, so she died as well. Again, the swordsman attack down in London as well that happened a couple of months ago, which I made a video on as well. Again, a 14-year-old kid was slashed to death as well. I think it was 2 bystanders were also slashed by the massive sword, and 2 police officers were also slashed by the massive sword, and one of the female officers almost lost her hand because the injury was that severe. And even with 11 police officers chasing after this one guy, the one evil guy with the sword had the advantage because they are not armed. Nobody's armed. It's an absolute joke. Self-defense is absolutely illegal. Again, I think a lot of these third world fuckers would stop fucking around and finding out if the news started spreading through videos on Twitter or even through social media as a whole, that if you fuck around, you're going to catch a bunch of 9mm, 10mm, 12 gauge, 5.56, etc, etc. But again, in the UK, you're not even allowed pepper spray, which I think is just a legitimate human right violation as well. Having to solely rely on the police, who are collapsed past tense as well. Again, in less than 2 years' time, 1/3 of all police will retire. Nobody's signing up. They are beyond understaffed. A lot of them are just woke lefty communists, to say the very least as well. And the only crimes they come out and deal with are ones that are through Twitter posts or Facebook posts. That is it as well. But when anyone starts to attack us within our private places or when we're out in public, we're just meant to phone the police, even though it takes literally half a second to plug a knife through somebody's neck into their jugular, and it takes 20 seconds for you to bleed out, or just a big machete across your face and you're dead at that point, or even a firearm. It's an absolute joke. I think it's legitimately incalculable at this point because of the practically the zero self-defense laws or weaponry allowed in the UK. Tens upon tens of thousands in the past few decades, even centuries, have died. If they were allowed to carry a weapon, they probably would be alive to this day as well. I know I like to go on rants about, self-defense in the UK, it's my most passionate thing, but I had to bring that up again as well. But anyway, let's move over to the financial struggles of the people of the UK, and I'm losing the will to make this video anymore. Again, the gas and electricity prices are set to go up to between 9 and 10% in October. Again, I would imagine fuel prices are going to go up again, shopping prices are going to go up again, and everything that you could imagine is going up. Every time I go to the shops, and I understand this might be little petty things in the grand scheme of things, but I would like to mention them. One of the things I like to drink when I'm going to the gym all the time, because it's got good sugars and electrolytes in it, a little bit too much granted, but still I find it nice, is some Tropicana smooth orange juice. Again, for the biggest jug of that, a cardboard jug, it was a flat £2. It's now £4. It's doubled in price in less than a year. Something else within the drinks kind of category that I like to buy on rare occasions is a 750 glass bottle. Sorry, 750ml glass bottle of Fentamine's Curiosity Cola. It's a very posh but lovely cola. That was £2 or less. It's now £3.50, almost double the price. Again, when you look at the price of butter or bread or fish sticks or anything down that line, even chips, and even something like steak as well, it's just beyond skyrocket. Shopping is so beyond expensive, especially for the necessities of milk, bread, egg, toilet paper, cleaning products. They've all just skyrocketed as well, and again, he's done nothing to absolutely fix these issues in any way, shape or form. In fact, he's only going to make it worse going forward, and the average working class person, it feels like they're financially drowning in David Jones's locker, essentially at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and the middle class people of the UK are just about getting their lips above the surface water to get their final breath, to try and hold their breath financially again. And it's only going to get far more worse if we actually somehow, by some miracle, get 5 full years of two-tier commie Keir Stasi Starmer. It's just going to absolutely become beyond unlivable in the UK, hence why I've said in previous videos, if you've got the money to, just leave the UK. I'm sorry, but it's beyond finished at this point. We're just waiting for the whole country to burn down slowly but surely at this point as well. There is just no financial gain of this country. Everything's just getting beyond taxed. Again, Keir Starmer promised that there won't be any more taxes in the future as well. If he was elected, he would actually take away taxes or reduce taxes. Less than 2 months as Prime Minister, taxes are going up as well. And it's not just even within the UK as a whole, even with the Scottish government up here with the SNP, they've just added a tax to disposable coffee cups of 25p per coffee cup. Again, bearing in mind that they said 25p per coffee cup, again, in 2013 or 14, when the SNP, Scottish National Party of obviously Scotland, introduced the 5p carrier bag to try and fight the climate bullshit, it's now 40 to 50p a bag. It's literally went tenfold in less than 10 years. Those coffee cups will go up to £1 in 5 years, I guarantee it, with the tax on top of it as well. There was no financial gain. Trying to financially thrive is impossible. Trying to financially survive is borderline impossible. Again, the white British person is always put last as well in terms of trying to help them out or try to give them a chance to actually start financially thriving in the UK as well. Again, he has the money apparently to send 15 billion to Ukraine, 86 million or whatever the number is off to other third world countries, and send money off to climates this and fight other countries off, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to the actual British person at the end of the day, no, you're getting zero help in any way, shape or form. But illegal immigrants are just given free hotels, free bills, free food, free drinks, free clothing, support as well, and just freedom as a whole, and probably have on average a far better income than even the working class at this point, and yet they're the ones that are going around committing 99% of all the crimes up and down the UK. He's failed to address any of the major problems. Again, everything that I've countered is what I would do the opposite. bring back self-defence, kick every single non-white British person out of the UK, every single legal one, illegal one out as well, not allow any legal or illegal immigrants in anymore because we've got no more space for them as well. Do everything in our power to fight the cost of living crisis as well, keep people safe, allow them to have agency again, allow self-defence, and more importantly, get this country running again. But 5 more years of two-tier commie Keir Stalin Stasi Starmer, yeah, the UK is fucked. Unless he gets to resign or somebody forces them to resign, yeah, the UK is fucked. And also, I've predicted that in the next general election, if we get one in a communist society, that is, I think the next one will be Sadiq Khan, and that truly will be the end of the UK as well. This man has to go. He is definitely the worst leader in British history and might even be one of the worst leaders of a first world country ever. But anyway, I'll wrap the video up there. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. If you could like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, that would be awesome. Again, thank you so much for the explosive support. It is genuinely greatly appreciated. I'll try and make all of your voices heard. I'll keep fighting for you and just the people of the UK as a whole, but I feel like I'm wasting my time at this point. I think the UK is finished. But if you want to leave a comment down below, if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, or you think I've missed anything of importance from that speech, let me know down in the comments. If you want to follow me on Twitter or go into my Discord server, links in the pinned top comment as well. Everything's uncensored in there. And within my Discord, you'll get genuine up-to-date news throughout the UK, Europe, America and other places. You can interact with others within general chat, and we have plenty of voice rooms in there as well. I like interacting with you not only in the comment section but actually talking to you in my Discord. So again, links in the pinned top comment. But yeah, please feel free to check out my other videos. I've made a lot of rant videos down this path as well, and again, I'm probably one of the least uncensored people on this platform, which is really not a high bar to hit at this point. But anyway, I love yous all, and as always, keep on rolling. Have a great day and a better week to follow. See yous!